My name is David Pilgrim, and you're watching Expect Diversity. Generally on this show, we talk about things like race and sex and homophobia and age discrimination. But today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about the world of tattooing, especially in the local community. And we have three guests today, and we'll start by having you introduce yourself.
My name is Sarah Rand.
Okay.
And
Am I going to have to tell you to look at me again?
no, no.
Okay, so welcome to the show. And?
I'm Sonia, and I'm the owner of Light Touch Tattoo.
Okay, where's that located?
Downtown Big Rapids.
Okay, and the hair, what happened there? Was that I'll just leave it at that. What happened there?
It's I change my hair like probably about every 6 months, and this time I wanted it kind of look like fire, so
okay.
that's where all the oranges and yellows and stuff.
Okay, and you are?
Sean Flagg, tattoo artist at Sonia's tattoo store.
Okay, so is she a demanding taskmaster?
No, they're great.
Oh,
Great,
okay. All right.
great place to work.
So you don't have, I mean, they're not like beating you or anything.
I'm a
No,
slave
no.
driver.
Okay, so well, I probably would have used a different analogy, but that's all right. Welcome to the show, Expect Diversity. Let's do a couple things. First of all, I don't have a tattoo. I'm assuming you all, this is a safe assumption in a couple cases. You I can't see because you're all clothed up here, but what tattoos do you have?
I have a full sleeve. I have my chest done, both of my rib cages, my sternum, my stomach, my thigh, my back, and my lower stomach.
Okay, and what do you have on them?
I have a paw print on my stomach.
Okay, what print?
A paw print, like a doggy paw print.
A bear paw print.
Yes, well, yeah. As I got older, it turned into a bear print. It used to be a puppy paw print.
It's gonna be hard to get through this show. Go ahead.
And I got a sun between my shoulder blades. I have. There's an artist named Brahm that did work for Heavy Metal magazine. Who I have a version of one of his girls. I have a cupcake and a couple pistols on my sternum, and I've got my birds, my big flaming star, and then I have a World War II tribute sleeve. I studied a little bit of war history, and my dad's a big war buff and very proud of the U.S. military. So, you know, World War II was a very defining point in the world's history, and so I think there's a level of respect that should be paid to it. So
Good, very good.
Yep.
Now, you were actually a Ferris student at one point.
Yeah.
And you were here for 15, 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Felt like that, didn't it?
I was a professional student for a while.
Yes, but you left here about couple 3 years ago.
Yeah.
When did you start getting tattoos?
When I was 18, right when I moved out of my house, I got my chest piece, and then after that, it was a couple years because I wanted to go to school and make sure that I was marketable, so I didn't get any tattoos until after I graduated. And I have plans to sleeve out my arms, but that's in the working
Okay.
right now.
Now, you were a graphic design major here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How does that relate to, I mean, I don't know, does that mean you see yourself as a canvas?
As far as graphic design goes and playing into being a tattooist, when you're a graphic designer, you learn typography and how to put it together and how to compose really well, and you have to do the same exact thing for tattoos to make them efficient and to be able to flow with the skin and everything. So that's where that kind of
Now, you
plays
said
in.
you started at 18 when you moved out of your house?
Yeah.
So was that a happy coincidence or a decision you made to wait till you moved out?
No, and obviously my parents wouldn't let me do anything until I was 18 and moved out. So that's what you do when you turn 18 if your parents don't let you do anything.
Wow, I have a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old, two young women. So thank you for putting that in my head, as it were.
That's
and
what
they both want
happens.
tattoos too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that you do that.
What tattoos do you have?
I have.
I don't want to get personal. I'm just
Oh,
curious.
that's fine.
Okay.
I have kind of like a henna design on my shoulder. I have a side piece and then my chest piece.
Okay, and I wouldn't be me. I'm trying to walk several lines here. You know, as Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion, that also makes me an administrator and I'm a professional and everything else. But I'm also a curious sociologist and the host of this show. So I'm thinking, these chest tattoos, everything in our culture tells us to look a woman right in her eyes.
Yes.
All right, and these things are screaming on your chest. Stop looking at my eyes and look at my chest. But I'm focusing on your eyes, if you notice, and I was focused on your eyes.
I actually have a good story about that.
Okay.
Right after I got my chest done, I wasn't aware of how much attention it was going to draw, and I had a gentleman staring at me, and finally I said, "They're real. so are the tattoos. Oh,
Okay.
So that was kind of fun.
So now, what would you say if someone says you should have known that was going to get attention?
No, go ahead.
I think it's different for each person, but when I got my chest piece done, I know full well that people were going to be looking at my chest. But when I was 18, I was more flat, and the reason why I got it was to enhance my cleavage because I didn't have any when I was 18.
Yeah, I think the show just became an adult show. I don't know. We just became an adult show all of a sudden.
Well,
I don't mean in a bad way. I mean just in an adult show.
I think it's more like following the flow of the body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, as opposed to like being like sexual in nature. Like
Yes.
sometimes, a curve of an arm, even on guys with like the shoulders or something, you follow the curve of the body, and I think that relates, like even with the
Yes.
graphic design. maybe.
Whatever you do, wherever your tattoo goes, it's supposed to enhance that part of your body, and just like piercings too. So it's supposed to flow with everything that you have.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming you also have tattoos?
Yep.
What do you have, and where do you have it? If
I have
can
a
ask.
family crest here, and my birth sign here, and I have kind of the scene that goes down to my arm.
Okay, so you're fairly blank for an artist, aren't you?
I guess if you
I
want.
mean,
to look
so
at it.
people are looking at you thinking, I should put this on him, or I should put that on him, or something.
We don't have time to get work done. We're
No,
always
that-
busy, so.
We're the last people to get work done at our shop.
Do you do each other?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some talk about doing me, whatever that means, and no, that's not happening because I told you I'm afraid of needles, and you said it wouldn't hurt.
No.
I think it's more like an irritation as opposed to pain. I like to refer to it as like a continuous bee sting.
Okay.
like just it's like light,
Yeah.
but like irritating. It's irritating.
What do you do if a drunk person comes in?
I personally, I just kind of talk to them, and I just kind of joke around with them, but I definitely don't tattoo
You don't
them.
tat 'em up
No,
with the-
no,
okay.
because they if you're drunk, your blood is thinner, and you tend to bleed a little bit more, and then the ink doesn't stay anyways. And also, I found out through experiences that if you're not in your right state of mind, you tend to be rude and you don't appreciate what's going on. And I definitely do not deal with rude people
Okay.
that cross the line with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so what you're saying is it's an experience.
Yes.
But there's also a consent issue. I mean, if they're drunk, I mean, they really can't give good consent.
Right.
What do you do if a person is like, 8 months pregnant or something and they come in? Do you do a pregnant person?
No, their hormone levels are a lot different, and they could be allergic to more stuff. They can tend to push the ink out, and also it's a lot
Dangerous
of trauma.
for the baby as well.
Yeah, to the baby.
But how would you know if they were like 2 months pregnant or?
You gotta have to trust them. You have to
Okay.
trust them, and that's all it is.
I think people should be very honest with it
Yeah.
because I feel like it, like it's almost I don't want to use the word medical, but it's like should be at such a level of like cleanliness and stuff that like I think like you want to be in top health. Like
Yeah.
I only get tattooed in the winter. I won't get tattooed in the summer because I don't want like I want to be able to go swimming
Right,
and
right.
be in the sun. I like to collect in the winter, protect them, keep them nice and
Smart.
Yeah.
So
And
you got
it
this down
is.
to a system.
oh, very much so.
A seasonal
Very-
system.
Yep.
Yeah.
6 months on, 6 months off.
That's a really smart idea too, because you
Save in the
when
summer.
you get it, you have to cover it for a good couple weeks and keep it out of the sun.
Okay. See, I don't know anything. I mean, I have to. I'm a sociologist, so I know the stuff sociologists know. For example, back when I was in high school, which was 100 years ago, there were certain. I don't know why that's funny. Come on now. There were certain people that you associated tattoos with.
Yeah.
You know, bikers, real
Sailors.
hard ass.
Yeah.
See, I said a bad word. That's on you.
Oh, that's not on me.
Just real tough people is what I'm saying.
Sailors.
And
Yeah,
sailors,
sailors.
you
Yeah.
know, people fighting, real tough people. And then later became kind of like a little bit of gang thing, although branding was sort of another little gang thing.
Yeah.
But at some point, what happened? I mean, now you got like love boat people and ministers with, what happened in the culture?
Artist
Is that-
came into
yeah.
it. I think the
Yes.
fine arts blew up the tattoo field.
Okay.
Like actual people that have degrees and have studied art came into the field and took what was like, say, your old school tats, which
Yeah.
are more lines and more solid color, and kind of took it and morphed it into working, living pieces of art.
Oh, definitely.
They're all
Definitely.
fine art canvases now instead of actually painting on a canvas.
I think
Yeah.
too, like you get young kids 18, 19, 20, 25, and they go home, they show their mom or their dad like this beautiful rose, and the mother's going, well, God, I could do that. And so then they go and get it, and it like shows like, well, my kid's not a bad kid, or my niece isn't a bad kid, and if they're doing it, okay, well, maybe not everybody is.
But wouldn't you say there's still some stigma? I mean, it's not like it
Yes.
was. I mean, when I look at you, I don't think you're gonna rob a bank or something.
No, but there's still definitely a stigma attached to it. Like, I get a lot of clients that come in and try to talk to me about certain lifestyles, and I'm
so they
not,
think you're like easier to have sex with.
that and doing drugs
Doing
and
drugs.
just continually partying. And I can tell you what, I'm like probably one of the biggest goody two shoes you'll ever meet.
Say
And
we're all family.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we all have kids.
Yeah.
We're married,
Yeah.
and if there is a party, I was never invited to
Right.
it. You know?
Yeah, I get that. You know, I mean, not you particularly. I just I get that.
Yeah.
So, but if you were to go get a job, I'm like looking at some of these on the screen here. I don't know if you can see over here, but like if I had, of course, now that I mention it, they stop on this one. But something like this right here, would you hide that if you were interviewing for a job?
I mean, to me personally, I wouldn't hide anything if you're going in for a job, because if
Yeah.
they don't accept you for who you are,
Yeah.
then you're probably not going to get along with them anyways, and you're probably going to end up quitting within a couple months
Anytime
or so.
I've interviewed, I tell them right up front,
Yeah.
look, and I always tell them that I have absolutely no problem covering it, that I'm
Yeah.
extremely respectful of how people feel about it. I'm a wonderful person, you know what I mean? If I cover
you're a great
it,
personality, yeah.
but that just because I like to cover myself in ink does not mean that I'm, so I always try to be very respectful of people who are still very, because I'm not here to offend anybody, you know what I mean? And that's how I just try to treat everybody with respect, the same amount that I would want.
Right. See, I could see, like someone says, all right, you want to be a salesperson, and which means you got to be in people's faces, conversation. So that means you're going to be talking to some conservative people. You're going to be talking to some different types, and so they wouldn't want to see it. And I don't know that you shouldn't just say, listen, this is who I am, and let me deal with a different part of your clientele or something.
In those types of situations, if you're in that type of a job, then I would say if you do want to get tattoos, then definitely get them in spots where you can appreciate them, and then show them when you want to, but then still be able to cover them. And that's the reason why where my tattoos are, I can cover them and I can take out my piercings. For when I was going to be a graphic designer, I wanted to be able to be in a professional setting. So,
is there a tattoo that, not to offend you or anything, but maybe we can start an argument here, because I'm agreeing with y'all a little bit too much on some things. Is there a tattoo you won't do?
yes, there is a lot of tattoos I will not do.
You won't do a swastika, even
No.
though
Yeah.
that's not. Even though the swastika, the original meant something else, it has come to
Yeah.
mean the whole
Every
Nazi.
tattoo artist I know
Yeah.
never does Nazi work.
Anything
I've
that has to
never
do
met
with
one.
hate, anything that has to do with
gangs.
hate,
So,
any
so every
culture.
time I see someone with a hate tattoo, like a white supremacist, they got it in prison or they got it some other kind of way.
Probably
Or-
a home tat.
Or a shop that doesn't really care.
Okay.
Like there's still a lot of tattooists that definitely will do those, but I
Okay.
don't know.
So what else other than the swastika?
Any kind of I know quotes are really popular, so
Yeah.
inside that quote, if it tends to be hateful to another culture, I won't
Okay.
do that either.
Okay.
And if there's anything that's in very sexual places on younger people
Okay.
that their parents will sign, I still won't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let's come back to that right there.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I think that's wonderful. Like when girls they hit 18 and they're like, I want to do this. Or 16, they want to get tattooed.
Yeah.
Their parents can sign. Wait 2 years. If you
Yes.
still want that tattoo in 2 years and you still want to do juicy above your rear in 2 years, then go ahead. But right now, hold off.
Right.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah, because can you remove them? I mean, if she wrote juicy there, whatever that.
I've never
I
got
don't know
any
the
removed.
scientific definition of juicy, but whatever that means. Can you remove it? Can you, like, if you change your mind?
If you change your mind, you can get it covered. It's
What does covered mean removed though?
no, it
That's
means
a cover.
yeah. She kind of has a cover right
That's the
there.
cover.
It means to
Oh, you mean you put another one on top of it?
yeah, and hide
So
it
you
and
were
mask
dating
it.
someone else, and then that didn't work out. And so now you got.
I call it the
what is
cardinal
that?
sin. This is a big, huge imperial Japanese dragon.
Okay,
Yep. Yep.
there's that. You know,
Yeah.
so
Covered
so,
a name.
So cover means the original tattoo is still under there.
Yes. You just hide it and mask it with a
Camouflage.
new
Okay.
piece.
Do you guys have laser removal up
No.
here?
Well, no, not around here.
Yeah.
And there is a way to remove them, but it costs a lot of money.
Does it? And
Yeah.
and that probably hurts.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
And they do it like
See,
per
that
inch
sucks.
as well.
Yeah.
Huh?
They do it like per inch, like they'll do like an inch by inch,
Yeah.
and they laser it off,
It takes
and
a
it's
long
a repetition.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Pretty much they're doing what the sun does in a quick and in a hurry,
Huh.
but it still just fades it. It doesn't really get rid
Yeah.
of it.
Yep.
Yeah. So now, does it matter? Now I'm I don't do good percentages here, but let's just say pretty much the same native as African. So I got this beautiful reddish thing going. It's not as beautiful as in June, but my point is, are there color, how do you say this? Does the skin color of the person matter with tattooing at all?
Yes.
For sure.
And can you
Yes.
answer that in a way that doesn't make you sound like a white supremacist?
For sure.
So,
If you think
what
of
I mean
it,
is, I've heard people say to black people, "Go do branding or something else because, or do
Can't see
piercings,"
it.
because, and I've heard that.
yes.
All right, go ahead.
It's definitely true. Like the darker your skin tone is, the less color you can have. So you have to make it so that it contrasts against your skin. So say if you got a red and you're pasty white, it's going to show up very bright, vibrant. You could do multiple variations of red. But the darker you get, the less that red is going to show up, and it's
That
going
makes
to turn
sense.
into a darker red. So it just depends. Like if you're really dark, then the colors are out of the question. If you get lighter, then
Well,
you can
why
do it.
couldn't you just get light colors?
The ink mixes in with your
your
skin
melanin?
tone. Yeah,
Oh.
yep, and then it changes it. So
You didn't know I knew the word melanin. You looked at me like, wow, it's got a PhD. He knows the
no,
word
no,
melanin. Why you insult me? You come on my show. You're nice and you insult me.
no. Tell you the truth, I forgot the word of it.
Oh, okay.
It's good that you
Okay.
dropped it.
Oh, it's good. I
Yes,
dropped the
thank
word
you.
melanin. So,
Yeah.
okay.
No, it mixes. So say if you were to get white, it wouldn't turn out white.
Okay.
It would turn out
I
like
get it.
2 shades lighter than your skin
Then
tone.
your skin. So
Yeah.
that would look kind of. Okay, now do you guys do brandings?
No,
All right, good. But do you do piercings?
we do piercings.
You do piercings. Well, why don't you do brandings?
Branding gets into a different level of extreme body modification. That's it's burning and
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
Do you have to have a
brand-
vent? Do you have to have a vent?
I would imagine. I
you
would
have to
imagine
invent-
because
You
that's
mean to
You
let
wouldn't want to do it
smell out?
inside,
Yes.
that's for
That's
sure.
what it's
That's
Yeah.
about is the
Yeah.
smell.
Well, no, I've because when you burn skin, it releases certain carcinogens, and if I'm remembering correctly, you have to have a certain type of vent, and the room has to be secluded from the rest of the place because when the skin burns, the vent has to suck the air right out.
And there's different regulations with the licensings if you're going to do branding that you have to have a different setup for
go
that
to a
too.
hospital
But yeah,
before I go to.
Well, I knew fraternity groups, some black fraternity groups where they did it themselves. You know.
a couple of them came in
Came
and I've
in, you've
tattooed
seen
on them.
that.
Yes, I have seen
Okay.
them. Yeah.
And also in prisons, I've seen some brandings and I've also seen some tats from prisons. Some of them look okay. Some of them look like a guy named Bob did them. You know what I mean? Just in prison. So I should probably be careful with my prison audience, but that's all right. All right. So you mentioned something earlier about a couple things. One, age. You mentioned.
Yes.
You said young. What's the youngest age you'll do?
I don't really like to go lower than 16, but of course you have to have parent consent. But there are a couple occasions where I have tattooed on 12 and 13-year-olds.
Really?
But
What did you do?
it was a certain very specific situation. The girl's father was going off to Afghanistan, and he was afraid that he wasn't going to come back, and he wanted to make sure that he was there for her very first tattoo. And so she got a little heart on her foot.
That's awesome.
And he was holding her hand the whole entire time, and that was, to
That's
me,
special.
yeah, that's a situation where you have to judge whether it's a good one or not.
Okay. Okay.
And the tat won't change over time. For
Yeah.
a spot like that, I mean,
Yeah.
think of how much your ankle grows.
Yep.
Like, there's certain spots of the body that doesn't grow the same. Like, say your midsection as a youth, you're going to have extensive amount of growth. And
Yeah.
if you put a tat, that growth could change the tattoo. But say your ankle or other spots that don't have the same amount of growth in puberty, they can stand up to getting a tattoo, or at least not the change that a tattoo can have.
All right, so a person has to either, a young person, prove that they are of age of consent, or they have to have a parent's consent.
They
They
have to
have
prove
to.
both.
Oh, they have to prove both.
You have to
Birth
come in
certificate.
with birth certificate, a school ID, your parents' ID, and you have to prove that it is the mom or the dad that's on the birth certificate signing
okay.
it too.
So what happens to tattoos when I'm like, 98 years old, and it started out as, gladiator, powerful, strong.
They're like fine
You have a
wine.
good story.
They get better with age.
Yeah.
Say that again.
They're like fine wine. They get better with age.
You mean the person or the tattoo?
The tattoo,
Both.
How is that possible?
because it gives you more meaning.
Oh,
and more,
it's more nuanced.
yeah.
Oh, because it's
It's like unami when you got your.
okay. No, seriously though, how does aging impact the tattoo?
The older the tattoo gets, the more the ink spreads underneath the skin, so it becomes a little bit more blurry. But you get wrinkles and
That's just
saggy
life, is what
skin,
you're
and
saying,
that's
yeah.
the way it is.
You get
yeah.
bald. I used to have
Yeah.
dreadlocks. Okay, so I had a couple questions here. One is, how do you know if a person is allergic or not? Or do you ask for proof of their allergies or something? Like, is there an allergy form?
You mean like allergic to the ink, the pigment?
Yeah.
You really can't be allergic to the ink. There's only a couple colors that you can be because of a certain metal that's inside of it that makes the color, which usually is red.
Okay.
And if you think that you're going to be allergic to it, then you should try it off with a little teeny spot and see what it's going to do. But there's not really a lot of people that are allergic to it.
Well, what would happen if a person just started, which I imagine I would do? And by the way, I'm strong about a lot of things, and I'm courageous about a lot of things. So don't sit there and judge me.
We have no doubt.
Okay, good.
No judging.
But my assumption is as soon as you start, I'd start wigging out. I mean, I'd jump up and start screaming. What do you do? Have you had a situation where a person thought they could do it, got partway through the process, and decided?
Yes.
You've had that. So what happens in that case? Oh, and what's going on here?
Oh,
See, me, I would be jumping up right now.
Most people, when they get it, they're definitely aware of what's going to happen, and they build
Yeah, but there's first-time people, right?
Sure.
There
all
are
the time.
first-time people, and usually for first-time people get smaller tattoos, so they can go throughout the whole thing.
Okay.
And we talk them through it too, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to run this tester line, just give you one little spot that if for some crazy reason you don't want this tat, all you have is a little E or this little line.
Okay.
So, you know, give them that feeling, talk with them about it. Is that, you feel good about it, feel like we can continue, and then
Now, is there, so
Right.
you're saying there's consultations during the thing?
through the whole thing.
Yes.
I mean,
Are
we're
there
aware of
consultations
what.
on the front end?
Yeah, it's not beforehand.
Oh,
yeah.
of course.
Okay. Now, what's going on here is this,
This is the
that
old
just looks,
chair.
yeah, I was getting ready to say, that looks like
that's a
some
really
medieval.
all of that stuff is from the original owner, and he tattooed out of that chair for a good 30 years. And
Please
that's
do
cool.
not,
Yeah.
no crybaby. See, that's the kind of sign right there that's disturbing for me. Because, I mean, representing the crybabies of the world, that's, all right. Oh, this is your place?
Yep, that's our studio, and I'm tattooing.
Is
right
that
there.
you?
Yep, that's me.
Okay, and he doesn't seem to be in a lot of pain.
No, he sits really well for me.
Well, what does that mean, he sits well?
He takes pain very well, and he just
No
sits
twitch.
there. Yeah, he doesn't twitch. He's
No
he
whining.
Just, yeah,
Oh,
he just
okay.
sits there and has conversations with me. That's it.
So I love being a good setter. I
Yes,
love being a
love
good
it.
setter.
Now, what happens if he, for example, not that you would do this, that looked like the other fellow I met. What would happen if you misspelled a word or something on a person? Do you like come back and? If doctors sometimes make mistakes, I'm assuming that tattoo artists sometimes make mistakes.
If that were to happen, then you try your best to either cover it or fix it or whatever needs to get done. But to avoid that, everything that we write, we spell check it on the computer. Then we ask a couple different people. I'll even ask him how to make sure that it is spelled right. Like, we go through a lot to
I like having words tattooed on me, and the guys that do me, they always they'll write it out, and then they'll just be like, "This is what you want, right?" Like,
yes.
and they will.
And we hand it to them.
Yeah.
And
Make
say,
sure that they
check
have the
this
final
over.
say.
Yeah, like they
Whatever.
got like trust and see that no one. Is no one one word or two? That's the kind of thing I'm not sure about.
There is a lot of those online.
Yeah.
You can go to
You're stronger than.
badtattoos.com and
See,
see
Oh,
you're
that's
stronger.
bad.
See, yeah, there's that.
no regrets, and regrets
Yeah.
is spelled wrong.
Yeah, and then you have a regret because
See, that almost, you could play that off almost like it was done on purpose,
that's
though.
true.
Like, I would play that off as a joke.
That's
I'd be
true.
like, I did that on
Yeah,
purpose.
but okay, well, good. But that's the only joke you get with that.
Oh, that's it. That's the
And
only
then
joke.
Can't do
you
it twice.
exhausted your jokes with that one thing, So, I don't want to get too, personal and everything, but are there like some sexual things related to tattooing that are really out there, and you draw the line, or do you just try to be? I mean, like myself, at my age, you see a lot of doctors, and I want a certain professionalism with my doctors because they're seeing me naked and all this other kind of stuff.
Yes.
So, how do you handle that kind of thing with what do you call them? Just a customer or client?
A client,
Okay.
yeah, client. I try really hard to make sure that everybody feels comfortable beforehand with me, or even yourself.
Do you guys have a screen?
We do. If it's anywhere that's going to be showing anything, then we privatize them.
Okay,
we
so
put
they
it in
have like
spot.
a behind the screen.
Yes.
And you're not playing like, Teddy Pendergrass music and low music in the back or something.
No. As far as me personally, I have a very fine line, and you don't cross that.
Okay.
I've had, when I first started tattooing, there was a couple people that kind of crossed the line, and I had to tell them to get out of my chair and get out of the shop. Like, I just don't deal with that. So
I think that's why you should take the time before you get tattooed to go in, introduce yourself, get to know them, go and
yes.
meet them a couple times, buy them a cup of coffee, get to know your tattoo artist.
Yes.
Become a friend of them and appreciate their art.
And you're going to be spending a lot of time, like for bigger pieces. I have clients that sit in my chair for 3 hours at a time.
Yep.
That's a long time to
That
talk
is
to
a long
somebody.
time.
You better like
so,
the person.
Yeah, you
Be able to
definitely have
crack
to
a
get along
joke.
with them.
Well, this is a lot more involved than, you know, and let's see, I had a time for a couple of others. Let's see, parents with tattoos, do you think that affect their kids any?
No,
Not at all.
No,
Not at
no.
all.
So, you know, mom's got, you know, Papa upside down.
Good.
That doesn't, okay, that's good for mom.
No.
And,
Yeah.
I think as far
and are
as
you
the
going to
kids
have the
go,
same attitude with your kids that your mom had, that you thought your parents would have you?
I'm definitely not going to let her get anything until she's 18, until she's ready. I'm not
I'm
kidding.
sure. Are
Yeah.
you on the
Oh,
same
yes.
thing?
I was 18.
Yes.
I had to wait. They
And,
had to
and
wait.
the thing is like with my chest piece, I waited a year and I designed it too, and I
Yep,
knew
I did mine too.
that I wanted it,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
still absolutely love it.
Okay.
So I'm actually very grateful for my dad to do that. Otherwise, I would have had some stupid
Oh, yeah.
yingings or something when I was younger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
And are you going to
would be
make
the
your
same
kids
way.
wait till they're 18?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow. Just trying to think. Gabby turns 18 on, I think it's in
You should go
June.
with her.
I'm
Yeah.
not going with her. Do you not hear me when I say the needle thing? It's the whole.
You don't even see them though. They
I
move
say
so
the
fast.
machines are so quiet now
Yeah,
too.
they are.
You don't
I
even
thought
know.
there's something in you're not doing it the old-fashioned way. With
No.
the,
We have rotary machines,
Yeah.
and they.
What does that mean?
It's there's coil and rotary,
oh,
and the coil are the ones that make the buzzing
Okay.
sound.
okay. But what was happening with that guy? The guy that had his back there, was being tattooed in the show
Oh,
with it?
yeah. I was using, well, I guess my quiet machines, so everybody
Yeah,
calls
okay.
them, and it was his whole back strap that it was like a
Oh.
piece this big. You just
Okay.
couldn't see it.
I
from
just
there.
didn't see it.
Yeah.
Do you use the neotats? Those, is that what they're called? Those real small square?
No.
No.
Let's see. Well, piercings. We didn't really get a chance to do piercings a lot. First of all, did it hurt? Just be honest with me.
I personally think all this stuff hurts. I
Okay.
mean, but
Yeah.
you
So,
know,
an
you know
honest
it's going to
woman.
hurt. Yeah, you
Okay.
know it's going to hurt.
Okay, we
That's
got
all it
3
is.
minutes left here, and this kid's bothering me. All right, so that you have that pierced up here,
Mm-hmm.
and I see the whole piercing. I don't even know how to ask that question.
I don't have
this
any.
is
That's
all
all
my
you got?
piercings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
like
all I have.
Weenie,
Huh?
weenie.
a lot of
scared of
people
piercings.
Are you
do-
really? But you have them right here.
It hurt the healing. The needles are so sharp. They're so sharp.
Yeah, it's
They're
it's
so
definitely
sharp.
the healing that is more discomforting than
Yeah.
anything. It takes a long time for piercings to heal properly, and the reason why you see me with not a lot of piercings is I don't heal very well, so I just
Okay.
stopped getting them.
Yeah.
I always had to take them out.
Now, do you guys do piercings?
Yep.
So if someone comes in with a piercing of their genitalia, you can do that?
Yep.
Wow. So that's what I'm saying. You have to be really, really professional.
You do. You
Because you
definitely
can't like
do.
start laughing or something.
No,
Yeah.
no, you there's a lot of stuff that you can't talk about while
Yeah.
everything is exposed. It's just like going to a
I
doctor.
was to say it's almost like
Yes.
the HIPAA, you know, like you just
Yeah.
kind of.
Well, I'm hoping you guys have them signed. So, I imagine that you should have pretty good insurance.
We have insurance, but on the disclosure statement, you release all that stuff knowing that there's a potential chance of something happening or it not healing right. Like everybody
Oh.
knows that.
That's another reason for me to stay out of there.
But on the other side of that, if something does happen, then you should trust your artist enough to go back and ask them what's going wrong, because we normally can tell what's happening and help it to heal properly.
Yeah. I would want someone that's been doing it 40 years. You know what I mean? But not using the techniques from 40 years ago.
Exactly.
But to have
Yes.
the wisdom that came
Yeah.
with 40 years.
I hope they're still in their prime
And hope
and
they're
not.
still in yeah, that's not helping me either.
Let's go for 20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, 20 years is better.
Well, listen, this has been a blast. I've learned a lot. I am no closer to having it done.
You should come in and see us and say hi to us and just
Well, I
listen
will come in
out.
and say
would
hi.
love it.
Come and say
I'll come in
hi.
and heckle you.
Okay,
You know, and
you
it's
can
like-
definitely come in and heckle us.
and
It's
make
all
up
good.
stuff that person think that you're putting something on the back of them. You know.
You
that
can totally do that.
Did you want a unicorn?
Oh wait.
If you want a unicorn, you know, with one leg up, on the other count. Some of this is not clean. This is a family show. But anyway, I thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I'll save the last word. I guess I have to wrap it up myself, but I really like the idea of Big Rapids, Michigan, the metropolis of Big Rapids, Michigan, having tattoo artists. Not a parlor, not a shop, actually having artists here. So
thank you.
Thank you very much, and again, just thank you.
Thanks for having
Thank you.
us.
This is awesome.